Welcome back to NerdFellas. I'm Mike Wante,
I'm Martin Ramirez.
and today we are talking about our top 10 all time favorite horror movies. And me and Martin argued and debated about these movies for a few hours, maybe a couple days, until
Yeah,
we settled on our top 10. So it was like an
definitely.
all out battle royale. But I mean, this is one of mine. So Halloween.
And mine isn't here, but it's a cool shirt
That
anyway.
is a cool shirt. Combines two of my favorites. So we're gonna just get right into it. Halloween is around the corner, and I don't know about in your cities if they've canceled Halloween, but here in El Paso, Texas, we got canceled for Halloween. And
We definitely got canceled,
yeah,
man.
so no trick or treating, nothing like that. So yeah, so
It's
it's not
okay.
gonna
I
be
was
great.
I was too old to trick or treat anyway, so
Well, I still dressed up and went out there. You know, you wear a mask, they think you're a teenager. You talk with a little kid voice, just like a kid on steroids. But
and a dad
so
bod.
and dad bod. That's exactly what I have. So let's go ahead and start with number 10. And number 10 is
Ooh.
one of those movies that came out when I was in high school
Mm-hmm.
and it scared the crap out of me. And it's called The Descent.
Yes, The Descent. I remember watching that movie and getting freaked out. Like I remember like not being able to sleep. And I was like 18 years old, by the way. Like I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, I'm already a grown ass man.
And I was freaking out about it because, we would take constant trips to like Rio Doso where the woods are. And I just kept thinking, what if there's creatures in the woods just taking people? You know?
Yeah, honestly, that's something I've always thought of
Mhm.
when I would go on long trips to like LA and you look out because there's nothing out there, it's all desert. But always looking out there, I'm like, man, are there creatures out there? That was always
Things
in
we
my
don't know
head.
about.
Yeah, exactly. That's always been like a thought of mine.
And it was a great premise. I mean, a bunch of girls go spelunking in a cave just to have a good time.
Mm,
They get stuck down there with a bunch of weird looking creatures that see in the dark and they
yeah.
can't. So,
Yeah, it's
um,
it's super creepy, man. Like, and then it makes you feel super claustrophobic as well, since you're in this cave with them, and they get stuck, and it's like there's like no room to go through. It's really ugh.
yeah, and it falls into that category of monster or creature feature, I think. So if you're looking for like a good creature feature film and the kids are asleep, then this is the one to watch. So let's get into number 9. So you're kind of going to see a trend here. We're going to be kind of dipping into each genre of
Mhm.
horror.
Yeah,
And so number 9, we have 28 Days Later.
28 days later. I mean, that was a. I'm not so I love horror, but the one that I feel like got over like played out a lot were the zombie type
Mhm.
of films. This one was so different. It
Yeah.
it starts off this guy in the hospital and there's nobody around. He goes out, there's nobody out in the city. It's like what in the world happened?
Yep. And doesn't it kind of sound familiar?
Oh
Walking
yeah.
Dead. But 28 Days Later, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Cillian Murphy, one of the greatest actors,
I
if
thought it
you've
was
seen
Killian.
or Killian Murphy. I call him
Killian
Cillian.
Murphy?
Killian, but he's in that. And if you don't know who he is, he's Scarecrow in Batman. He's one of the Peaky Blinders. He's the leader. He's Tommy Shelby. Um, but 28 Days Later kind of changed the genre for zombie films, I think, because you brought in some really great acting. It wasn't a lot of cheap scares. It was a great story. It was
Mhm.
heartbreaking. But I mean, it was still freaky because these things would run,
Right. And the thing is that this was a virus, and that's
yeah.
kind of reminiscent of what's going on now. I mean, I know it's totally different, but it is scary on that sense where something that you don't know what it is and you can't control it or contain it. That's where that scary part of it is.
And one of my all-time favorite scenes is from this movie where, they're safe. They're in a nice, safe area. And
Mm.
I'm not going to say who, but one of the characters looks look hits a wall and he looks up and blood falls in his eye.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God. And that's how it comes. And he's telling everyone, stay away. And you just see the transformation. And these, I mean, these are great actors. So zombie movie, you can, there's great ones like Dawn of the Dead, all the deads really, but really you want to watch 28 Days Later, this Halloween.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's number 8?
Let's see. Well, uh I don't know because I didn't write them down.
You son of a
You
bitch.
you wrote them down in order.
All right, I'll tell you what
This
number
is
8
what
is.
happens when you're doing a live show, guys.
Yeah, this is
Not
exactly what
live, but
happens. A pre-recorded show
pre-recorded
where we like
show.
to leave our mistakes in here.
Yes.
So number 8 is Poltergeist. So this is going to fall under
Oh,
the genre of ghost story.
I love Poltergeist.
Tell us
So,
about it.
so there's a big old conspiracy between this horror, like this movie, because there's so many things that might have happened and might have not.
Mhm.
Um, Supposedly Toby Hooper, which directed Texas Chainsaw, directed it, but a lot of people say that were on set that it was actually Steven Spielberg who directed it. And
Ah.
then there's like this curse around this movie because the little girl Carol Ann and like more like multiple like people in the movie had like really like they died during filming. So like the sister died shortly after in real life. Carol Ann after Poltergeist 3 passed away,
Oof.
unfortunately. And but this movie was super creepy. It's got that clown, which made me hate clowns as a kid because
Or the tree
that
hands that
scene,
come through the window.
yes, and that
Oof.
scene though, the with the clown, that always scared me so much. Watching it now, it's a little bit cheesy. It's on the cheesier side, but there's also a really cool scene, which makes me definitely think of Indiana Jones, because this guy, he's in the restroom and he's looking at himself in the mirror. And okay, have you ever have you ever had a menudo and then you put it in the fridge and it
Yeah.
gets all jelly like because of
Yeah.
all the grease or whatever? So this guy sees his face
I
and he
already know where
starts
you're
like
going.
picking at it, and then like he tears away his face, like his entire, and the pieces of flesh look like menudo.
I'm never gonna eat menudo again.
It's super creepy, and then all of a sudden like he's like okay, but it's a really creepy movie. I
And I
love
mean, it
that.
influenced like the modern horror films like Insidious. It
Oh
practically
yeah,
Insidious practically copied it. So I mean,
yeah,
it's Poltergeist is one of those where it's a little dated with the effects, but the effects are
yeah.
still good.
And
So
I never bothered watching the remake because I love Sam Rockwell, but I just never. And I've heard it wasn't very good either, so I
eh.
don't know.
Well, let's jump into the next one. So we're going to be looking at number 7, which is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one
Oh
from the 70s.
yes, yes, 74,
And 74.
73 or
And
4.
so this is also a Toby Hooper film,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of those movies that if you've never seen it, you're not really prepared for it. Like
Mm-mm.
it's scary, it's disturbing. I guess you can put it in the genre of slasher, but honestly, I would say more gore and
Gory.
disturbing horror films.
It's for me, I saw it first as a kid, and I really blame my cousin for that because she straight up told me this is a true story. This really happened, and they never found the killer. And I'm like, as a kid, and we're like,
And we
we're
live in
in
Texas.
Texas. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know. So to me, that was, and it was shot like documentary style,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
which made it like it gave it that extra ugh,
And
like
and the actors were so good because it felt like you were watching these guys really get terrorized and really
yeah.
get picked off and killed. And like the most disturbing scene to me in this movie is the dinner table scene
Mm.
with the
With the
grandfather.
grandpa, yeah.
Oh
The
God.
grandpa looks, oh dude, I don't,
Yeah. And
That
so
that's
it's one of those where it's something you have to see because it's part of the horror culture, and it's gonna affect you for a long time. You're gonna walk out feeling disturbed.
Did he not kind of look like this a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit like the Dawn.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on to number six, and this is a found footage film,
Oh man.
and this is the Blair Witch Project.
Another one where I thought was real for the longest time when I was a
Everyone
kid.
did. You weren't the only one. I mean, even the
I
people that produced it were like, "Hey, are these guys still alive? Are we really going to release this?"
the
But
thing about this movie for me is that it you never see anything. It's all
yeah,
sounds. It's all people making noises and putting their hands on the thing
it's the
and
fear of
that's
the
that
unknown.
exactly. And that's to me that's what really freaked me out for
That's the
sure.
one of the key elements for me. That's probably the biggest element for me in horror is the unknown. Like, what is this thing? Where are we? What's trying to get us? And I think that's the biggest thing that affects me in any horror film, just the unknown in general. And the fact, and this movie, I mean, it was made for like what, $20,000, and I mean, went into making millions,
Oh yeah. I
and
think it
just
was for the
best
longest time it
marketing
was
campaign ever.
yeah, for the longest time I think it was known as the highest grossing independent film ever made.
Yeah, and I think it might hold that record still. Paranormal Activity also kind of
Yeah, I
did the
think
same thing.
Paranormal actually might have been one of the ones that broke it. I'm not
Yeah,
sure, but that's another one that I love too. But I think the Blair Witch Project
it set the
really had like,
precedent for all of them.
oh man, but that one for me, especially at the end where you're just like,
Oh,
what's going like you don't even want to like don't no, don't,
yeah,
I don't know what's going I don't know what I'm
yeah.
looking at.
And just
That's
hearing
what's
noises in the woods.
scary.
And it's another
Yeah.
movie that happens in the woods. I mean, the woods just freak me out. So,
Yeah, yeah. That's why I live in a desert.
so now we're coming to number five, and this is a psychological thriller known as Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs isn't super gory or
Mhm.
super scary, but the
No.
idea of somebody like that, which is actually the scariest part of it all.
And
And
not
because there
just
are people like that.
one person, but two. I mean, the fact that you can get abducted and
Hmm.
taken hostage, and that you could end up being killed by some kind of psychopath. You're dealing with that spectrum, and then you're also dealing with the psychopath that's helping you find the psychopath.
Yeah.
And Anthony Hopkins, man, like I wish I could imitate his. I can't do it, but Chianti and fava beans. I can't do it, but it was like, I mean, Anthony Hopkins had very limited screen time compared to like Jodie Foster and everyone else. But I mean,
Oh
he
yeah.
did he win an award? I
Yes, he did. He won I'm sorry, best
Supporting,
actor or yeah, best supporting. And I think he's only in the movie for like 14 minutes,
yeah, 14 or
something like
17
that.
minutes. Yeah, that's all he's in there for, and it's the first of the horror genre to win Best Picture.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
horror gets snubbed a lot.
oh, big
Like
time.
because like the I think what horror is supposed to do is just scare the hell out of you.
Yeah,
But this one was also a great film at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah. So it kind of took a little, all the check marks. Great film, great acting, and it still freaks you out, and it falls into the horror genre, but more psychological. Number four. This is also technically a creature feature, but I like to call it like a retelling of monster classics, and
Ooh,
it's American Werewolf in London.
I love American
Never watch
Werewolf.
American Werewolf in Paris because that one sucked so bad, but American Werewolf in London is the best horror werewolf film ever made.
Best transformation scene, hands down.
You will never see a better transformation scene of man to monster on the screen
Yeah.
ever. Like the amount of effort they put into this one scene, like you could see that's where their budget went, you
Hmm.
know?
And
So
I love it because it's so funny.
yeah, yeah,
This movie is like a comedy, and then out of nowhere, you have like these crazy like
yeah.
gory deaths,
And it
and
and it and it influenced movies like Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
Having that dead friend.
Oh
Just
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
so.
exactly.
American Werewolf in London is something that you definitely want to, like, it's not something that'll freak you out and you won't be afraid to go to bed, but it's something that you'll enjoy watching and laughing to.
Oh, are we down to our top three?
We're down to our top three,
Ooh.
and number three would have been my number one, but again, me and Martin had to argue about that. So number three is Halloween.
Oh
Michael
man.
Myers is the greatest slasher of all the slashers. Like there's no comparison.
What makes him so great? I mean,
The
why is that movie resonate now? Because everyone I know loves Halloween.
Halloween is amazing. So, I mean, first of all, it's called Halloween, so you want to watch it every Halloween, which I do. I watch it every year along with Hocus Pocus, but that's a different story. And the fact, just all the behind the scenes details have always, because we like making movies, so all the details about it, like this wasn't even made anywhere near the fall time, and uh, John Carpenter was the director. He composed his own music, just the score. Dee, 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 dee. I mean, everyone knows that score, and not just that one. I mean, like the ding, 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 ding. Just, oh man, the whole score makes this movie. And then just the fact that Michael Myers is known as the Shape. So if you look in the credits, it's
Mm-hmm.
not Michael Myers, it's the Shape, at least in the original. And that's how he was written in the script, the Shape. And it means like the embodiment of evil. And the fact that we know very limited history about him, all we know is, he killed his sister Halloween when he was little. He's been in a psychiatric ward ever since, and now he's back to wreak havoc. But that's all you know. And then of course they made a bunch of crappy movies after that. I could maybe argue for Halloween 2, but the rest of them were just crap bags, and then they changed the lore, and so seeing the new Halloween films come out, yeah, there you
You
go,
mean
Halloween 2.
Halloween
I
2?
could I could make a good argument for that. I mean, it was a good follow-up, I thought, and it was a
What
great way to.
what do you think? Not the newest one that came out, but the Rob Zombie remakes.
I honestly did like part one.
Mm-hmm.
And then part two got too Rob Zombie on us. So I think I think I'm good after two. I was like, okay, yeah, let's give it to somebody else. And
Yeah.
we never would have thought that comedic directors could take over the Halloween franchise and turn it into what it's going into, so completely
Comedic
wiping
directors
out.
are killing it. I mean, like
Oh,
from
big
the
time.
Russo brothers,
Uh-huh.
Keenan, oh shit, Peele.
Yeah.
No, Key or Peele?
It's
I don't.
Jordan.
Jordan Peele. Oh my god. But yeah, Jordan Peele. And who directed the newer one?
Which one?
The
Gordon
Halloween.
Green.
What did he direct before that?
He was doing oh man, what other movies did he do?
He did comedy?
Yeah, he did some comedy films. And then also Danny McBride is a producer.
That's weird.
Yeah. So like they were passionate about it. They got John Carpenter's blessing. John Carpenter came
Mhm.
back and spiced up his score, which is still amazing. And just like the new stuff they put into it, but I could talk about Halloween for forever. And then just even like the Halloween mask, it's so iconic. The fact that it's shaped after William Shatner's
It is
face.
William Shatner.
It's William Shatner's face, just a plain white William Shatner's face with crazy brown hair, and then the fact that it was so indie and it's the first film to introduce scream queens, so Jamie Lee Curtis was the first scream queen, and then that's where you got all of them after that. So
Mhm.
it all stemmed from
They
Halloween.
even made a show, didn't they? Called
Scream
Scream
Queens.
Queens. Yeah.
Yeah. And I even read, John Carpenter didn't film in the fall, so to make it look like fall, they got a bunch of leaves, painted them brown, and they
Oh
kept putting
yeah.
them in the background and recycling them. Such a good movie. So number three, I guess. That's all right.
Number two,
Number two
Stanley
is,
Kubrick,
yeah, The Shining.
The Shining.
Lots of
That
drama.
that is crazy. That's a crazy movie.
It is.
That's a guy going like slowly going insane, and then you see him get to his breaking point, and
And
it's.
Jack Nicholson playing that part.
I
I
mean,
mean,
was he not made for that role?
yeah, he was totally made for that role. He's cuckoo, He went over
Yeah.
the cuckoo's nest.
Yeah.
He was perfect for this,
What a what
So,
a what a joker, that guy.
jeez, oh my god, I'm
uh,
trying to think of another one, but I'm gonna let it go. So, this one had a lot of drama too, because Kubrick was very particular about everything he wanted,
oh
and
man,
I mean, he even made
the blood elevator doors scene.
yes, such an
He
iconic scene. And how long did that
he
take?
okay, so from what I don't remember how many takes it was, but he started filming that from before filming the actual film until after filming the film, until he got it right.
Yeah, yeah,
I can't
everything
believe
had to be
that's
his way and perfect.
crazy.
Yeah, and then the actress, he ended
Oh,
up
Shelley Duvall, he like tortured her.
made her
That
cry.
basically, yeah, I feel really bad for her.
I mean,
That
that's the acting you see is her in actual turmoil, just like, and he's just probably behind camera, more scream, you're so
yeah.
stupid, just telling her stuff and making her
Oh,
feel bad.
yeah.
And she even has interviews where she's like, yeah, it was the worst thing ever, but you got what you got on the screen, and it's because he pushed me, So I was like, that's crazy, but it's scary. It has so many different elements of horror, like psychological.
Mhm.
It has the ghost factor, creep
Mhm.
factor, slasher.
The two
That's
little the two little
the
girls.
two little girls or the ghosts.
Mhm.
Gore with all that blood. It has Jack Nicholson who slowly transitions into a slasher carrying an
Yeah.
axe. It has elements of the supernatural.
Yeah,
Just
with the Shining.
the Shining, if you know what The Shining actually is. And then the follow up was great as well. So with
I
Ewan McGregor,
still haven't seen it.
it watch it. It's good. It's good. Like you would expect it to be a crap movie, but no, man, it's awesome. So that's number two. So
Oh,
brrr, what
honorable
is number
mentions.
one?
Well, what
Oh,
about our honorable
okay,
mentions?
fine, fine, fine. Let's get. You know what?
You said it.
I'll give you one, and then
All right.
I'll say one. So
All
what's
right. All
your
right.
honorable mention that didn't make the list?
I honestly think, man, Hereditary. Hereditary is insane. Like there's stuff in that movie that you just do not see coming at all. And it's I'm not even give anything away because it's something you have to witness. Just watch it and don't expect anything, and then in return you'll get everything that you think you want, but it's insane. It's
If I
crazy.
for my honorable mention, I'm torn between two movies, but I'm gonna go with It Follows.
What was your other
It's
one?
Babadook.
Babadook.
Babadook is really good, great acting. It's technically a creature feature, a monster that comes from a book, and it's an insane story. And I guess my biggest thing for it is that it really kind of is an allegory for how parents feel sometimes with their children, just
Mhm.
being overwhelmed. And this is just to the max. And this monster technically represents that, the Babadook. So that's a good one. But mine is going to be It Follows. And It Follows is a crazy, creepy movie because you just never know when something's going to happen. Basically, it's about uh, you can call this monster or ghost technically an STD, really, because the way it's given to you, the way it starts following you is through being transferred from having sex. So
Is he a ghost?
it's kind of like a ghost, but it takes different
So then
shapes.
it's an STG.
Exactly, it's an STG. Coin that. So basically you have sex with somebody, and then if you had the ghost, you pass that ghost on to them. And it's technically a monster, not really a ghost, because it takes several shapes, several forms. And the creepy thing about it is you never know who it is. It can be anybody. It can be someone right behind you, and if they get to you, they will kill you. And if
Mhm.
you die, the ghost or the monster goes back to whoever the previous person was. And you could travel a million miles away and it'll just follow you. And you could probably hang out there for
So is that why it's called It Follows?
exactly, exactly. And just the shots, the way it's shot, just these slow moving shots. You have to kind of really get into the movie because it feels like a slow burn. But if you can just kind of let yourself get into the movie and you watch it by yourself, especially, which I did, and that was a mistake, you're going to be looking over your shoulder for a long time. So
All
good.
right. I think you spoke way too much about that movie, and I only got one like little
Yeah,
slip of a.
I gave you a
I have
blip.
another one then.
Okay, fine.
E.T.
That's a good Halloween movie, actually.
That little effer is super scary, man.
Yeah, and for and for parents, like if you're trying to find good horror or
I'm
Halloween
just
movies,
joking, but
no, I'm being serious here though. If you're trying to find Halloween movies for your kids, put on ET. It happens during Halloween.
it does. You know, you're right. And then he dresses up as a ghost.
Yeah, we were trying to think of movies like, okay, what can the kids watch that they won't freak out about? And we
Yeah.
were like, okay, Hocus Pocus, obviously, Nightmare Before Christmas, Frankenweenie. So we're just going through all
Mm.
these movies, and then finally we're like, well, E.T. That happens during. We ran out of movies, so we're trying to get creative.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's talk about the number
Number
one film.
this
That is
movie. Fun
The
fact.
Exorcist.
Fun fact. This film was one of the first DVDs I ever bought ever. Like it's literally it's the first three movies I ever bought.
Wow.
The Exorcist. That movie is so effing scary.
It's one of those movies that it took a long time for me to buy because I saw it as a kid and I was traumatized by it. And I started collecting movies and I bought a bunch of horror movies, but I couldn't buy The Exorcist. And it's only because I had bad experiences with it. So let me tell you my quick experiences.
Oh, nice. I want to hear this. I've never heard this before.
So when I was little, my little sister was having a sleepover.
Mhm.
So she had all her girlfriends there. I was the only boy. I was pretty annoyed. We put on The Exorcist for some reason. We were too young to watch it, but The Exorcist was playing. And the girls got bored because it's a dramatic movie and there's a lot of intro to it, a lot of background. All the girls fell asleep. I'm still watching it. I'm 7 or 8 years old.
Mm.
So I'm watching the movie and I'm by myself. All the girls are asleep. And I'm watching the scene where she's doing the F me, and she's stabbing herself. And I'm just like, holy crap. And then it does this tight shot on her face. So you see all the scars and her smiling and looking all creepy. So she's just like there.
Oh,
And
that was scary for me, man.
I know, right? So she's there. So what happens to me is as soon as that happens, the movie pauses.
Oh,
And I'm looking around and I'm the only one there. I'm holding the remote. And I'm like, maybe I pressed it by accident. So I tried pressing play, nothing. And then all of a sudden the volume, remember how the old TVs had the little green volume bars? The
mm.
volume starts going doo, 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 all the way up while it's paused. And I'm like, what the hell? And then it just plays. And then all you hear is, and all the girls wake up. And I was like, holy shit. And everyone got mad at me because they thought I did it on purpose, but I didn't. I didn't do it, Mom. So I was traumatized because something took over the TV.
That's creepy,
Some kind of
man.
poltergeist. So,
That's creepy.
but
That movie,
this movie's,
that movie is so. Even today, watching it, it's so crazy to think of how they even did any of those effects.
yeah, and just the fact that they they kept them in a cold room
Oh yeah,
and
so
to
that they
get the
had
effects,
yeah.
and the fact that what was her name, Linda Blair,
Linda Blair.
had to go through so much just to get her voice to
Oh
get deeper. They made her drink like whiskey and smoke cigarettes,
no,
and
they did not.
yeah, they
They
did.
got some other woman to do the voice.
No,
Yes,
it was
they
her.
did.
It was her. And
she
then
was she
and
was really possessed.
just like the Poltergeist, but probably even more so, people died on set.
Yeah. So actually, there's a really cool documentary series on Shudder. If any of you guys have Shudder, it's called Cursed Films. The first episode is about The Exorcist, and
Yeah,
then
and
they also made an episode about Poltergeist and The Omen and stuff like
that
that.
goes to
But
tell you, like, don't make these creepy horror films because bad things happen. You're opening doors.
that's a crazy movie, man.
And the reason it's number one is because it delivers on all fronts. Like it's not just a good movie that's worthy of an Academy Award.
Mm,
It's also just insanely scary, and it doesn't just traumatize kids, which kids shouldn't watch it, but it traumatizes teens and adults, and it's carried its value for many years, and the effects still hold to this day. Like
mm-hmm.
you can't the movies being made now don't compare to The Exorcist. It's just you
No.
can't do it.
There's so many things that you can't do anymore with the child actor.
Yeah, the laws kind of changed a little bit since then.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, there will never be another movie like The Exorcist.
what's the
It
creepiest scene for you?
oh there well it's one of those jump scares that where nothing happens. But actually it's where the mom hears something in the attic and
Yeah.
he she like goes up there and I think the lights are out, so she has a candle and she's going up there and she's looking around, nothing. And I don't know if it was a mouse or a rat or something, but then the fire goes, and I'm like, oh, like, because you're not, you don't know what to expect. You're thinking, oh my God, it's the demon or something.
Yeah.
And then it's the fire just goes crazy. And then that to me was scary. But I think the creepiest film for me was the moment she levitated
Yeah.
from the bed and the dead face she has, the eyes are all white.
There's really, since you said two, I'm gonna give you two.
All right.
So the first one is gonna be the director's cut with a spider crawl down the stairs.
I would have said that too, but
That
yes.
one, oh my gosh! Like originally that wasn't part of it. So,
Yeah.
and it was
That
creepy because it was when she's first starting to get possessed, and she's like, "Oh, you're
mhm.
gonna die up there," and she starts
And then
peeing,
she bleed like she throws up blood.
throws up blood, and she's just like
Yeah.
crawling down backwards,
Yeah.
and everyone's and the music that they played, like,
Oh, like
oh yeah,
oh yeah,
that soundtrack is kind of like what
yes.
you hear in Insidious too, and that's what made that movie, and all you just and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
crawling, and all you hear is the steps down the stairs. Oh, ooh, no, I'm
Yeah,
freaking myself out, man.
it literally sounds like spiders
I'm
going
getting scared,
around.
Martin. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So the really quick, the other scene that freaks me out is when the father is having that nightmare and he's seeing his grand or his mother like calling for him, and then there's the flash of that demon face
Oh,
with the
yeah.
black eyes and
Uh-huh.
oh no, that face, that oh, damn it,
There's another scene of that face where I want
ooh,
to say that the mother's walking through the kitchen and just out, like you're not even expecting it because it's like a regular
yeah,
scene, and all of a sudden, whoo, like
it
it's
just
just like
comes
a
out of nowhere.
flash,
Yeah,
and it's like,
what the hell just
what
happened?
was that? And it never like they never address it. It was just there, and that was freaky to me. That just to me was like, what? And
And
then
then
they
just I don't know. I was gonna say just the way it was shot, like just beautiful shots sometimes, like when the arrival of the
oh
Exorcist,
yeah. Yeah,
and it's
Max
just
von
crazy.
Sydow.
Oh man,
Yeah, yeah,
R.I.P.
that's the iconic shot of him getting out of the car. It's foggy, the staircase,
I'm hearing
him just
things, Martin.
looking up, dude.
I'm hearing things. I think we need to end. I think it's past my bedtime. I'm
it's
probably
all.
not gonna sleep.
It's only 6 o'clock in the. No, I'm just
Shut the hell up. What time is it, man? It's 10:50, man. I need to go to bed.
kidding.
So anyway, so those were our top 10 horror films, just all time favorites.
Hmm.
And it kind of covers every single genre, I mean, of horror, So I think these are the essential films, especially if you're barely getting into horror or you're just like,
Oh
I haven't
yeah,
seen any good classics.
those are
These are
the
the
ones
ones.
to watch for sure.
Yes. Yeah, these belong on your list. And there's a couple of modern ones in there, but
Hmm.
overall, all classics. So, um, hopefully you guys enjoyed that list, our discussion. I hope you all have a great Halloween. I hope Halloween wasn't canceled for you. And, hopefully you find other fun activities. Carve some pumpkins, stay home, watch a good horror film, check out this list and watch one of these movies. But just be safe and have fun.
Yes. Have
And
fun.
but yeah,
That's why I
any
love
last words?
Halloween. No, I mean that's it. I mean I
That was a bad choice
that
of words. Any last
that
words?
was any last
What
words.
if I don't see you tomorrow? I'm scared.
No, but that's it. I mean, that's what I love about Halloween is just having fun, watching scary movies, freaking yourself out, hanging out with friends. And unfortunately, you shouldn't be doing that this year, but hopefully in the future it all goes back to normal. We get
And actually, we're
to
gonna be filming our own couple of
oh
little
yes,
short
little
horror. So
film. Yeah,
keep an eye out for that. We're gonna be doing, even though we're keeping the crew small. We're gonna be
hmm
safe. Masks, gloves, all everything we need, and it's gonna be our first attempt in a while to get a horror film going. So maybe we'll give them a sneak preview later on.
yeah, for sure.
But other than that, y'all be safe. Have a great Halloween. I'm Mike.
And Martin.
Nerd out.